Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Hello, welcome again to Real Do It Yourself Build. What we're going to do today is I'm going to build a small garden wall and we're going to have a gate in it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to dig our foundation right here. Now, the way we're going to build this is the wall is going to be fastened to this wall with a wall starter. It's going to come out until we want the gate, and then we're going to have a post. So it's going to be quite chunky post, and then just here we're going to have another post, and then a small wall which is going to join on to our retaining wall and our planter. So we're across, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a line straight across the front of that, and that'll give us a square line straight off the wall, and we'll extend that across, and we'll use that as our marker for where the centre of the wall is going to be. Just extend that across like that. Further. And that's it. That's going to be the centre of the wall. So we just need to do a few measurements now and mark out where our foundation is going to be dug. Okay, so we've marked out the foundations, or the hole that we're going to dig for the foundations, and they go straight across, and the square bit there is where the post is going to go. So with both sides marked out, it's just a case of dig down now where the foundations are going to go. So let's go. So we've got the concrete in either side, and we're ready now to let that set, and then in a few days time we'll start building up the wall, and you can see where the gate's going to be right in the middle there, and then yeah, we'll build the wall up, build the posts up, and we'll get a gate on, and that'll be perfect. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fit wall starters, because we're going to connect the garden wall with the gate to the house wall, or to what is actually the porch wall. If you come round, you can see it's actually outside. The wall starter is just a way of making sure that the new wall that we build is fastened securely to the existing wall. So that's our two wall starters screwed on, and we've got a centre line coming across in grey there, which you can just make out. So the next thing to do is for us to make up a mix, and we'll be on with building a wall. The mix that we want nice and soft, where we're going to be able to easily make a nice furrow, and this is something that we worked on when we did the extension, It was something that we had to learn. But anyway, yeah, that looks like a really good mix. That's going to go on very nicely. Okay, we've got the wall starters on. We've got our centre line marked. What I'm going to do now is put 2 rows of mortar, and then we're going to start building up the bricks. Now this very first row is a little bit low, so we're going to have to use a straight edge to make sure that we keep that in line, and then we'll be able to use a line as soon as we get above the soil level. We'll be able to use a line straight across. Okay, let's get the first row of mortar on. That's a nice soft mix going on really well. And there's the centre line. You can see that our bricks are going to be either side of that. Let me just put some mortar in there. There's going to be a 15mm gap between the bricks. Let's just keep that one out of the way. Okay, so just get a little more at the back there. Let's just start with these ones. So that's the face of the brick, and what we're going to do is we're going to come up straight in line with the wall starter. We're going to have a 15mm gap, and then the top stones will sit crossways to finish off the wall. Now I'm leaving these bottom bricks about 10mm off the wall until we reach the wall starter, and the reason I'm doing that is because even though this is part of the porch, so it's actually outside the house, what I don't want to do is bridge the damp-proof course. I don't want to chop into the wall and join the damp-proof course, so I'm just going to jump across with a small gap. Okay, so we've put the first row in, and we're just putting the next pillar in, or the next base for the pillar, and then after that we'll start working with a line, and we'll just build up row by row. Let's just get this one nice and flat, make sure it's absolutely perfectly placed, because this is the bit that is going to be more or less the foundation for the whole thing. Just having to go a bit careful with this setup at the start, because we're below ground level. I can't put a line across, so I'm measuring each one, making sure they're all in the right place, and then when we come to doing the next row, we'll be able to put a brick either end, put a line across, and get it absolutely perfect. At the moment it's a little bit tedious because we're having to set each brick up individually. Okay, so we're going to set the next brick, so I'm going to put one at the end here and one at the end down there, and we're going to put a line between them, and then we're going to build off that line from then. So we've got our line in, should be very straightforward now to just work to that line and just perfect like that. this mortar. Make that perfect to the one below. Up to the next part of the nicely to the next part of the post. Okay, across to the other side. So we've got our first couple of rows done, and what I want to do next is when we put the next rows on, I want to show you how we do a complete row so that you can see how each row is built up, and then all we'll do is we'll continue that process and keep going until we're at the height that we want. But I want to be able to show you how we do the full row when we're using the line, and then when we use a straight edge to align the pillars as well. So we've got the rows on. We've got up to the height that we want with the wall, following exactly the same process of what I've been doing all the way through. So what I'm going to do now is I've got some black engineering bricks, and they look like this, and they're going to go across the top of the wall, and they're going to be put on going crosswise like that. These are called soldiers when you put them in this way, I believe. So we're going to put a row of those up to the edge of where the pillar is, and then we're going to build the pillar up another 2 rows, and then put a capping stone on top of that. Now at the very end of the wall there, I've got this brick. This is solid, so it's got no holes in it, because what I want is I want the end of the top of the wall to be sealed when it goes up against the fence that we put in. Now these are engineering bricks, and the reason we're using engineering bricks is because if we get water which is absorbed into the face of the bricks on top, and then that freezes, the face of the bricks will blow off over the course of next 2 or 3 years, and we don't want to do that. We want a permanent fixture, we want a good wall, so we're using engineering bricks on the top, and that's what these are. Let's get on with it. Okay, so a little bit of mortar. We'll put a couple of wall starters in just for this final row. Black bricks across the top. A bit more cement on there, a little bit more mortar. Okay, and then the first of our engineering bricks to go in. And there we go. That's the plumb, make sure it's all upright, and that looks about right to me. Very good. Very good. Wasting any of this. Right, so first one we're putting on this end is our solid, and that's because this end is going to be up against the fence when these wires come down, and we don't want the end exposed, so we don't want any water going in the holes which we've got to reel the bricks. So we'll just get that one in place. We need to set this one up carefully because this is the one that we'll be line it up on. Okay, so that's nice and flat and level. Just make sure that we're plumb when we start our lower block bricks. There we go. It's about perfect there. Okay, so we'll work from that one now with the black bricks and then build up, just like we have done over here. We'll build up our pillar, a couple more rows, and then we'll get our capping blocks on. Okay, with the black bricks on, we're just building up the posts now, all the pillars. So a little bit on the end, and then drop our bricks in. And when we get up to height, we'll be putting the capping stones on. I'll show you that in a little while. Let's just get a couple of these on. Now, when you're scraping off the extra mortar, if you tilt the trowel away and get a 45-degree angle as you scrape up, you find it comes out nice and clean, and you don't get a mess all over the face of the bricks. You just sort of shave the extra off, and it seems to work really well. That's something that I've been working on over the course of these videos, and I'm getting a little bit better with it. When we drop our spirit level on, just tap into place, make sure that we're all level all over, and then once again just clean off that extra cement or that extra mortar, and we end up with a really nice level plumb post. We'll carry on doing that until we're ready to put the capping stones on, then I'll come back to you and show you that. Okay, so we're going to put the capping stone on. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put a nice bed of mortar all the way around the square, lift the stone on, put it on, and then we're going to use the spirit level just to make sure that we're perfectly level. The top of the stone slopes, so what we might do is we might use the underside of the stone with our spirit level to just check that it's all in the right, all at the right angle and it's all level. So we're going to get a nice layer of mortar all the way around. Try and get it as level as I can, so that there's as little messing about as possible once I get the stone on. That looks like we're there or thereabouts, I think. So the stone's a fair bit wider than the top, so we've got a measurement there of 33 and our stone is 40, so we've got 7, so we want an overhang of about 3.5 centimetres all the way round. So all I'm going to do to achieve that in the first instance is I'm going to make sure that my fingers are about that far in, and I'm going to lay that on top like that, and then I'm going to move it round until I've got it even all the way round, and that's the first thing I'm going to do to make sure that it's central. Oops, so that's further. There I've got 3.5. There I've got 3.5. 3.5. So it looks like from the measurement that we're about right. I'm just going to check. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just step away from it and have a look. Okay, so that's both bits of the wall finished now, completed, ready to fit the gate, and yeah, all done. Capping stones on, they're all nice and level, all centered nicely, and I think we've done a good job, so quite happy with that, very pleased. See you all next time.